Cast and start streaming. Okay, looks like that's working. And now we need to stream on Insta. Yep, we are live. Let's go. We be live now. Okay, I think everything's working as intended. I think. Except my hair. Yeah, that's better. Alrighty. Now, look at that. Got a little someone here. How's it going? Got any ESL questions? Nope, they left. They left. Maybe. Hey there, hey there, hi there. Who has ESL questions for me? Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't think I finished talking about the IELTS speaking from last time. So we need to still talk about IELTS speaking a little bit more. Someone was asking a question about it last time on YouTube. Are we actually online? Are we on air on YouTube? Yes. Okay, good. We're good to go. All right, we're good to go on that. So, let's see. Everything seems to be working properly. All right, nice. Oh, you know what? I'm not supposed to be connected to the Wi-Fi. Uh-oh. Let's reconnect here. Okay, there we go. Sorry, everybody. I was connected to the Wi-Fi on the phone stream, and I'm not supposed to do that. Okay, now we're good to go. We are good. So last time we ran into some questions about the IELTS reading and the IELTS speaking. Okay, we went over the reading, pretty fair amount. Okay, now we want to talk about the speaking too. Sure, no problem. So, generally speaking, the IELTS speaking test, some people have kind of some weird ideas about it, right? Not quite right. All right, so let's go over some of this general stuff first. All right, number one, it's called the IELTS speaking test, not the IELTS answering questions test. Okay, so we're not just sitting there answering the questions that the examiner is asking us. Okay, we need to tell stories. Okay, telling the story and giving some engaging, interesting information is very, very important. Why? All right, well, there's of course the grading criteria. We want to follow along and do whatever we need to do to get a good grade, but also kind of just think about it. Okay, the IELTS speaking test is not graded by the person in the room with you asking the questions. Typically, it's graded by someone in an office somewhere that works for Cambridge, or the British Council, sorry. Someone's working for them and, sitting in a room listening to a bunch of speaking tests all day, and it's really boring. Right, people typically will give the same types of answers, very similar structure to their answers. It sounds like a really, really boring job. All right, so if we can do something to make their life, the grader, maybe a little less dull, a little less boring, then it's probably going to be good for us on the test. All right, that's probably going to be a good thing. Okay, let's unplug the charging cable here. This computer's getting too hot. We'll wait for it to start dying, and then we'll plug in the power again. All right, things heating up on me too much. So yeah, the test is graded by a real, actual, live person. All right, so if we can get that person's interest and get them engaged in what we're talking about, that can really only be good for us. All right, that's going to be good for us. All right, we want the grader to at least be marginally interested in what we're saying. That way, we'll stand out. We can get a better score. Okay, let's take a look at YouTube, see if anybody's watching or asking questions on here. Nope. No questions yet, but I'll just put a little thing in the chat. Be sure to ask your own questions if you want. Always happy to answer them. All right. Anybody even watching on Insta? Nope. Goodness. Uh-oh. I seem to have run into yet one more occasion when I'm live streaming to no one. Oh, this is painful, but that's okay. I'm still gonna do it. I'll be here. All right. Now, a little coffee. Let's get into this in a little bit more then. So, for the IELTS speaking, we all know, or we should probably know, that it comes in 3 different parts. Right? Each part, they have the same basic grading criteria. All right, number 1, you've got your fluency. Number 2, hey there, Madusir. Thanks for coming. We're talking about the IELTS speaking right now. If you want to ask a different question, go for it. I'm more than happy to answer for you. So they're grading your fluency and your pronunciation. Right, they're grading your grammatical range and accuracy. Okay. They're grading your coherence and cohesion. Okay. And they're grading your task response. Okay. Hey, Prince has joined us. Hey, Prince, how's it going? You can also watch on YouTube, and then you can actually see what I'm writing, because I am writing stuff down. So if you want to watch that, you can watch on YouTube. You can find my YouTube link directly on that's a link at the top of our Instagram page, main page. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So we're talking about the IELTS speaking a little bit, but if someone wants to ask a different question, also good. Okay, so someone on YouTube says, can we learn some idioms? Yeah, we can learn some idioms. All right, I'll just write that up here. Idioms. All right, as a little reminder. Okay. Let's see, am I blocking that? No, it's good. So, grammatical range, accuracy, coherence and cohesion, task response, fluency, and pronunciation. All right, so lexical resources, they also want that. All right, so grammar, vocabulary, structure, all that normal stuff. Okay, so it's difficult for us to try to accomplish everything for every question. All right, that's a little rough, a little tough. All right, so my approach to speaking is a little more structured than that. Okay, a little bit more structured. So I have a little bit different approach depending on what section of the test we're working on. Hey there, Michael. Thanks for coming. So let's talk about section number 1. All right, part 1 of the speaking. So first we need to understand what's actually happening here. All right, I'm going to type this. This is going to be easier for people to read. My handwriting is actually not very good. Yeah. Number 1, right? So you've got 5 minutes of speaking time, right? The examiner must ask at least 5 questions. All right, which means if you speak too long, you can be cut off. In part 1, cut off equals no lost points. All right, so you might get cut off in part 1 if you're talking for too long, but in part 1, that doesn't lose you any points. It's okay. it is distracting, confusing, and stressful. So if you get distracted, confused, or stressed, that can make you lose points. All right, so technically getting cut off doesn't lose any points, but the results of getting cut off, how it makes you feel, that can make you lose points. All right, so our targeted speaking time equals, let's say, like about 30 to 40 seconds or so. All right, 30 to 40 seconds of speaking time is pretty good. You probably won't get cut off, and it gives you enough time to include details, right? The who, what, when, where, why, how much, how often, how many, and how you feel about it, right? Especially these ones, right? The let's put a little underscore here. How you feel about it, how much, how often, how long. Right? These are really, really important details to get into, especially for the IELTS speaking. Okay, IELTS writing, also pretty good to add a little more detail. All right, we'll accomplish that in a similar way. All right, that's how we add details: speaking, writing. You gotta get into the WH information, the info. All right, give me the info. So we are not just giving a short answer to a short question. All right, that's not happening. We want to give a more detailed answer. We want to tell a story. That's the important part. We're telling stories here. Okay, people? Let's see if anyone's talking on YouTube. No, we still got that idiom question, but that's it so far. Okay, that's fine. Just checking. If you guys on Insta have any other questions, you just let me know too. Right, so we know we got 5 minutes of speaking time on speaking part 1. We now know that the examiner must ask at least 5 questions. And if we're speaking for too long, they'll cut us off. Okay, we know that. We want to talk for at least 30, maybe 40 seconds. Not any longer than that, right? You'll get cut off. And you want to include some nice details. All right. Hey there. Thanks for coming. We're talking about the IELTS speaking test right now, but if you have another question, you just let me know. I'm happy to answer it. So, our main focus on the IELTS speaking part 1, our main focus is the grammatical range, right? Part 1 is pretty predictable, all right? Part 1 is predictable. Usually they will ask a question about your work or studies. 99% chance of this happening, right? They're almost always going to do that. And this is the perfect time for us to get a nice grammatical range in there. All right, grammatical range, all normal tenses, of course. We want to have nice normal tenses, continuous, simple, present, future, past, whatever. Complex sentence structures, of course. Yes, but what we really want to focus on is 1, perfect tenses. Present, perfect, simple / present, perfect, continuous is enough. All right, number 2, we've got to have conditionals. All right, just a first or a 0 conditional is fine, right? We don't need to do anything too crazy. And 3, some modal verbs, really good, right? Should, may, might, could, ought to. All right, particularly those modal verbs for suggestion, really good. All right, really good. So to get into the 7 range, we do need to have at least a little bit of conditionals, perfect tenses, and some modal verbs would be helpful too. Right? Just using other normal tenses, but using them well, we can get into the 6 or 6.5 range just fine. But if we need to get above that, then we do need to use more advanced grammatical elements. Right? Perfect tenses, conditionals, modals. Right? So the work study question is the perfect time to use a perfect tense. All right. I have been working at blank for blank time. I have worked at blank for time. All right. I have been studying IELTS for time. I have studied IELTS for time. All right. Really, really nice, easy, direct way to get into some perfect tenses quickly. All right. We really need to keep this in mind. It's so important that we don't lose our opportunity with those work study questions because they are probably going to ask them. All right, very, very likely. Okay, so conditionals, write a 0 or a first conditional. They're not that big of a deal, all right? Hey, Kelly, thanks for coming. Hey, if you have any ESL questions, you just let me know. Okay, we're going over the IELTS speaking a little bit right now. If you want to see the notes that I'm writing and the stuff that I'm writing down about the IELTS speaking, you can watch on YouTube. Then you can see my notes. Right, I'm kind of writing things, but I can't stream on. I can't stream the computer screen on Instagram for some reason. I can't. Doesn't let me do it. Can't stream on Instagram on my computer. Only on the phone. Don't know why. Kind of annoying. I know. I'm sorry. But that's what happens. So, where was I? Conditionals. A 0 or a first conditional. I know they're not easy, of course, right? They're not easy. But they're a lot more manageable than a second or third or a mixed conditional, untrue conditionals. They're not so bad. All right. So a first conditional is basically just a simple hypothetical statement. All right. Plus will. All right. If I get $1 million, I will put it into my retirement account. All right. Account has 2 C's. A 0 conditional is basically a statement of fact. If I don't have coffee in the morning, I get cranky. All right. Doesn't require a will. Hey there, everybody. Thanks for coming. We're doing an ESL live stream, obviously. Right now, we're talking about the IELTS speaking test. But if you have other questions, I'd be very, very happy to hear them and answer them. Okay? Oh, it looks like these two joined and then left immediately. Okay, well, never mind. Bye-bye. So don't be scared to ask your questions, okay? I love them. I want them. I need them. Please. Okay, and so this is gonna cover speaking part 1 pretty well. All right. Our main focus is grammatical range. Can we still use nice vocabulary? Sure. Yeah, you can still do that, of course. Do we still want to have normal, reasonable answers that make sense and are like well organized, yeah, that's still important. But in part one, just our main focus is grammatical range and accuracy. Okay. Hey there, if you've got an ESL question, just let me know. Right now we're talking about IELTS speaking part 1. And we're actually about to switch over to talking about part 2. Okay, so let's do that now. I'm going to delete my notes here. If anyone wants to see my notes, of course, they can always just come back and watch YouTube, watch the video on YouTube again. It's fine. All right, no problem. So, part 2. Let's make this ink. Let's make the color black again. 2. All right, part 2. So we should already know at least some information about this, right? Let's just type it again. My handwriting is ugly. I know. So you have 1 minute prep time, 2 minutes speaking time. Okay. Of course, everyone should know this. If you're getting ready to take the IELTS, you should definitely know this, at least. All right. Now, if you go over 2 minutes, you will be cut off. On part 2, cut off equals lost points. Like, you do lose points if you go over time. All right? So this is a problem. All right? Why do you lose points? Why? Because there is no clear ending point to what you're telling the speaker, the listener about. No ending to your story. This is a big problem, right? In part 2, our main focus is kind of 2, right? Number 1, structure, right? This is for our coherence and cohesion grading. Number 2, lexical resources, or well, let's just say vocabulary. This is our lexical resources score. Okay. So for our lexical resources for the vocab, it's more important to have a greater range of generally descriptive vocabulary, right? For the IELTS, we want to use advanced vocabulary, sure, right? That's definitely true. But advanced, it just means better than normal, right? It just needs to be more advanced than normal. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy. Some people end up doing vocabulary research and trying to find these like really high level words that they could try to sneak in on the IELTS, like try their best to use them. These really specific academic terms and stuff. I don't think that's very useful. It is good to have some idioms and phrasal verbs ready to go. That can and does help your score. They do want to hear you using idioms and phrasal verbs, but that's not the most important. Right? To get into like the 8 range, you need to have more idioms and phrasal verbs, but to get to the 7.5 range, it's really just about having better vocabulary than normal. All right, so I focus on terms to replace good, bad, like, and don't like. Don't use these. All right, we want to look up synonyms. That's very important. Okay, we've got to have some synonyms for that. On the IELTS speaking, there's nothing wrong with using good to describe something. Oh, this is so good. Oh, that's good. That's very good. That's so super good. Good. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to lose points, but you're also not going to gain points. That's the problem. If it's not going to gain us points, then it's basically just a waste of time, right? So we don't want to do anything that doesn't help us, right? If it's not helping, then it's not important. So, talking about how good or bad something is, or how much you like or don't like something, it's not going to help you, so we're not going to do it. We can talk about loving something, or cherishing, or adoring it, or if we don't like it, we can say we hate it, abhor it, whatever. Detest. But we don't want to say like or don't like. If something's good, okay, fine, but we need to increase the level there. Excellent, fantastic, wonderful, bad, horrible, terrible, dreadful. All right? Just basic level increase. It is not difficult to use these words, right? Once we have a mastery of them, just replace good and bad. Right? I've taught 6 and 7-year-olds that can talk for an hour about how much they like or don't like something because of how good or bad it is, and that's very good for a 6 or a 7-year-old. But for an adult, it's not impressive anymore. All right? So that's how we're handling the vocabulary. That's the type of vocabulary we need to do. But that structure, all right, ooh. So our speaking goal, our timing goal is about 1 minute and 30 seconds to about maybe 1 minute and 45 seconds. Okay. Anything over 1 minute and 15 or 1 minute and 20 seconds probably is fine. So we want to shoot for about 1 minute 30, minute 45. We are not speaking for 2 minutes. We do not have to do that. We should not do that because we're going to get cut off and lose points. Of course, this generally descriptive adjectives and verbs, very, very, very important. We need to have a much, much greater range of mastery. You don't have to have a whole lot, like 5 different good idiom, 5 different replacements for good, 5 replacements for bad, 5 replacements for like, 5 replacements for don't like. That should be enough, like maybe 20 terms. Not a big deal. Hey, Sharifa, or Sharif, thanks for coming. We're talking about the IELTS speaking right now, part 2. All right, so if you have any questions about anything else, you just let me know. Okay? Red Bull gives you wings. Is this actually Red Bull? Is Red Bull watching you right now, or did someone just name themselves after Red Bull? You must really like Red Bull. Say I already did. I just said it. Red Bull gives you wings. All right, so I like Red Bull too. Sure. Okay. Interesting. So, Red Bull, we're talking about the IELTS right now. If you have any other ESL questions, just let me know. Okay. So, we talked about the part 2 and like what are needs for the vocabulary. No, my name is Prerna. Well, I have no idea how I would know that, right? It just says Red Bull gives you wings on your username there. So, yeah, no. Hello, hello, Red Bull. Prerna. 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 Am I saying that right? My name's James. That's easier for me, right? It's basic Western name. You get it right. It's Prerna. Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not very good at pronouncing names from different cultures and languages, but I definitely have gotten better over the last 7 or 8 years teaching online. All right, there's a lot of different names out there that I've had to try my best. Try. Anyway, yeah. So we're talking about speaking part 2 for the IELTS. But if you have any other ESL questions, I'd really love to hear that too. I'd love to answer them. So the vocabulary requirements can be satisfied, in this way. But what about that structure, the coherence and cohesion? Well, we have 1 minute of planning time, but frankly, that's just not enough time. Right? It's not enough time to plan out sentences. We can't plan out full sentences. Not really. Hey, look, Caleb wants to be in the video. Sure. We got someone joining on Instagram here. Let's see if they're gonna come in. Caleb, you there? Caleb's stalker, I guess I should say. Caleb's stalker, are you there? Doesn't look like they're joining. Maybe you didn't mean to request it. I don't know. Just let me know if you have any questions then, okay? Caleb Stalker and Red Bull. Got some weird usernames in the chat right now. That's cool. That's fine. So the structure, the planning. We don't want to plan out a bunch of sentences. 1 minute of writing time is not enough to fill up 2 minutes of speaking time. It's not possible, right? So I typically suggest that people do more of a visualization structure. All right, beginning, middle, end, general, specific, me. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you want to see what I'm drawing or writing on Instagram, you have to watch on YouTube. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You can see what I'm writing or drawing if you watch on YouTube. So the structure that we're doing here is very important, right? We're planning a beginning, a middle, and an end to our story, right? We are planning that right away. There will be a clear ending. Typically, in normal conversation, at least in English, what we typically do is we talk about the big ideas first, the big general stuff first. And then we narrow it down to more specific things, the small ideas, and then we'll finish up by talking about ourselves specifically, me, I, my. Okay? We, like I said, we don't have enough time to actually plan like full sentences or anything, but we do want to plan 6 nice descriptive vocabulary terms to help us remember what we want to talk about, where we're trying to go with this. All right. So let's just say, I don't know, what's a normal part 2 topic? Let's say it's like, tell me about a trip that you went on. Who did you go with? What did you do? Where did you go? Did you have a good time? Something like that. All right. So typically the part 2 will give you the general task. Tell me about a trip that you've gone on. And then it often will give you like 3 or 4 WH follow-up questions: who, what, when, where, why, how, whatever. All right. So let's just say that this is my question, right? Tell me about a trip that you have gone on in the past. All right. And then like the who, what, when, where kind of questions that follow it up. Oh, shoot. Oh, here we go. I've got my phone here. So we know that I have 1 minute of planning time. So let me just set up a timer really quick on my phone. Timer. 1 minute. So I'm going to do some planning on this. I'm just going to follow this basic structure that I've got. Let me set up a different color of my pen. Let's just say blue. 1 minute. So I'm thinking about the trip right now. Okay, so I'm like, Mexico. Right. Fantastic. Lovely. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Awful. Terrible. Fantastic. Overall. All right, so I still have another like 23 seconds of time remaining here. So I'm thinking of the story already. I know what I want to talk about, and I'm using these words to help prompt me. Okay, so First, well, let's see. I'm almost out of time now. I didn't even need the full minute. There we go. Now I'm going to have 2 minutes of speaking time, but I don't want to speak for a full 2 minutes. I don't want to do that. Let's just see what I got here. So, if you want to hear about a nice trip that I've taken but in the past, I would talk to you about one of my trips to Mexico with my friends and wife. All right. Generally speaking, so now I'm going to talk about the big ideas. Generally speaking, Mexico can be quite fantastic. You know, the prices are reasonable, the people are very friendly, and the typical areas that you go to for tourism are incredibly lovely. All right. I usually like to go to Cancun, the Cancun area. Cancun, it's very tropical, very beautiful, fantastic weather as well. The beaches there are totally gorgeous, and you can get access to a lot of other areas and kind of like the coastal area of the Cancun. Right now, there are a few things that can be rather awful. Right, number one, there might be a really big storm. Right, some of the most terrible storms that I've seen were in Cancun. Dangerous, downright frightening, right? But generally, whenever I go, I check the weather, so I'm careful about that, and overall, I typically will have a completely fantastic time, and I just love it there. Pause. I had 27 seconds remaining, so I spoke for 1 minute and 33 seconds. I had a clear beginning, middle, and end to the story I was telling. I started with the big general information first about Mexico, and then at the end I talked about how I typically feel about it and what I do, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about myself. I had my plan. I executed the plan. I used all of the words. These words were prompting me on the story I wanted to tell. Right? So these aren't just random words. Right? I'm thinking of the story. I'm not writing down everything about it because I don't have time. But I am writing down the key words and phrases that I want to use, and I want those keywords and phrases to be some kind of nice, more advanced descriptive vocabulary. Right? That's better, or that's best. Okay? Now, so that's part 2. That's how we're going to be addressing it. Oh my God, am I going to end up speaking for this entire stream just about IELTS speaking part? Maybe. I might. No, it should only take another few minutes. Okay, so this structure, this outline structure, it's not the only way you can do IELTS speaking part 2, right? That's not the only way. There's more than one way to do it. I just think that this is really the best for a lot of people because it helps them plan the beginning, middle, and end, right? We have to have a clear ending, and it helps you plan some nice vocabulary that you want to use without overwhelming yourself with furiously writing a bunch of crazy stuff in your 1 minute of planning time. This shouldn't take you a minute if you have a little practice. Okay, now it's worth mentioning. Let's clear this out. Let's delete this. Bye-bye. And we don't need this anymore. Okay, la-la. It's worth mentioning that there are a lot of people, when they start taking classes with me, the first thing that they mention about IELTS Part 2, especially if they've taken the test before, is awkward or difficult speaking topics for Part 2, right? So not everyone knows everything about any topic. They are just opinions, but not everyone has an opinion about everything. True. So maybe you get an awkward or difficult Part 2 topic. Uh-oh. What do we do? What do we do about that? Maybe it's something that you don't know anything about, or maybe it's something you don't know enough about, or you're not comfortable talking about. Anything could happen. Let me give you an anecdote, an example. I had this Russian guy. I think he had taken the IELTS speaking about 2 or 3 times, or just the IELTS test about 2 or 3 times. and he was getting the scores he needed in all of the other areas except speaking. And he says it was because he kept getting weird, awkward questions in the speaking part too. And he just he'd break down, he doesn't know how to answer them, he doesn't know what to do. And so I asked him, well, what kind of questions are you getting? He says, oh, I keep getting questions about music and pop culture. He's like an IT kind of guy. He's like programming nerd. You know, he really likes that kind of stuff, but he actually doesn't participate in pop culture very much. He doesn't listen to a lot of music. So he had a lot of trouble answering questions like that. A lot of trouble. Okay, so we've got our topic. Whatever that topic is, it's something difficult, something awkward, something that we don't know how to talk about, right? So for him, it was like one of them was something about Michael Jackson. I know he got some kind of question about Michael Jackson, and he doesn't know anything about Michael Jackson. So we still have to address the topic directly. We can't change the subject, right? We can't just talk about something else. Can't do it. Address topic directly. I don't know about that. All right, okay, that's fine. So then we're going to say, why? Why don't you know anything about this? What do you know more about? Why? Why do you know more about that? How did you get into that? Right? So what we're doing here is we're going to talk around the topic. If we can't talk about the topic directly, we'll talk around the topic. I don't know anything about Michael Jackson because I actually don't listen to or enjoy pop music. What do I listen to or enjoy? Okay, I typically like to listen to electronic music because it doesn't have lyrics, so I can listen to it while working without it distracting me. Right? This is something that this IT guy would be saying. Why? Right? I get distracted by music with lyrics because when I'm typing in programming code, a lot of it is words. I have to use words and commands. And if I'm listening to a song with lyrics, I might accidentally type the lyrics instead of what I actually wanted, which would cause a major malfunctioning or a very difficult programming error that I'd have to fix later. All right. And so we just keep going with that. Talking around the topic. Yeah, I don't care about this for these reasons. I care about something else more for these reasons. This is related to my life in this way. Blah, blah, blah. Talk around that topic. All right, we're still kind of answering the question, what's your favorite Michael Jackson song? It's just that my answer is, I don't have a favorite Michael Jackson song because I don't care about Michael Jackson. All right, so if we run into a difficult or awkward topic on part 2, this is what we want to do. We want to address the topic and then talk around the topic. Okay? We cannot change the topic or just talk about something else entirely. That doesn't work. All right? Now, that covers part 1 and part 2 of IELTS speaking. Let's clear all this out. Again, if anyone wants to see what I was writing down, you can find it on YouTube. All right, you'll see it on YouTube. No problem. All right. Part 3. So, part 3, let's type again. Let's start doing a little typing because my handwriting is a little ugly. So, the topic is related to part 2. The structure is part 1. All right, so 5 minutes speaking time can be cut off. Examiner must ask at least 5 questions. Speaking time goal equals about 30 to maybe 40 seconds. Okay, 30 to 40 seconds. So that's all the same. That's all the same. All right. What's our main focus on part 3? Our main focus is regrets. Regrets. Our main focus in part 1 is a grammatical range and accuracy, and especially we want to use perfect tenses, modal verbs, conditionals. Maybe you forget, or maybe you didn't do it right. Once part 1 is finished, this happens to everybody. You're immediately going to start thinking, oh no, oh my gosh, I didn't do this. I should have done that. I did this badly. I could have done this better. This was bad. This was good. You're going to have regrets. Everyone does. Everyone. That's okay. Let it go. It's all right. You can fix it in part 3. Part 3 is your opportunity to fix that. All right? You have an opportunity to fix it. In the IELTS speaking, you gain points up to a score. You don't lose points down to a score. So there's always time to gain more points when you're still in the test. Right? Part 2. As soon as part 2 is finished, this happens to everybody. They're going to think, oh, shoot, I didn't use this vocabulary term. I should have said this. I should have said that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. This should have been better. This was bad. Okay, no problem. Fix it in part 3. Again, right? Part 3 is your chance to walk away from the test feeling good about what happened. That's it. Right? We just want to feel good about what the heck happened there. All right? So after part 3 is done, and it's over, you're done, you can get out of there, walk away feeling at least okay about what happened in there. All right, so part 3, that's our main focus there. All right, whatever you feel like could have or should have been better in part 1 or 2, go ahead and do it in part 3. Or try. All right, try your best. Okay, that's it. Now, we're done talking about the IELTS speaking. Whew, that was like 40 something minutes, maybe almost 50 minutes. Oh, sorry. Now, let's see if anyone's saying anything in YouTube. No. So we still just have someone asking about idioms in YouTube. That's cool. What idioms? Is there any in particular? I don't know. What do we want to learn about? Idioms. Let's see here. Well, I do have my idioms notes from my videos. I should have pulled those out. I usually bring them with me, but today I thought we were going to be talking about the IELTS more, so I didn't bring them. Uh-oh, computer's dying. Give me a second. Let's plug them back in here. There we are. There. Let's see if this camera is still pointing at me. Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, you know what? I'll go grab my idioms notes. Just give me 1 second. Haha, here we are. All right, there's a bunch of notes right here. Get back in here. Haha, I'm back. Did you miss me? Didn't take too long now, did it? Because my desk is right there. All right, that's where the magic happens. That's where the classes happen, at least. Now, some of these we've already streamed about. Let's see here. No. Okay, there we go. These ones we have not streamed about. This one, actually, we have. Let me put a little S on that. These aren't idioms, though. These ones currently are adjectives. So let's skip these. Going places, lone wolf, hold your horses, full of yourself, on the level. Yeah, so we got a few idiomatic equivalents to these adjectives too. All right. So, idioms, that's a pretty general category, right? Phrasal verbs are idiomatic language too. So, just kind of depends what you mean by idioms. Okay, so let's just say we're going to be talking about determined as an idiom, right? There's no stopping blank somebody, right? There's no stopping me. There's no stopping you. There's no stopping this. There's no stopping something, right? What do we think that means, really? All right. Oh, someone says, can you explain to be on good terms with someone? Sure. Yeah, okay. Now let's get into that then. To be on good terms with someone. Alright, so this to be is actually to be, right? So let's look at some example sentences. Oh, are you on good terms with Elizabeth? I am on good terms with my boss. Let's see. Those two are not on good terms. Don't try to get them to talk to each other. All right. So, to be on good terms, this is an idiomatic, kind of an adjective, right? So we do need the is, am, are, or be, right? So to be on good terms with someone just means that you have a nice, friendly relationship. All right, you're friends. Or you get along. So of course that means if you're not on good terms with someone, that means you're not friends with them, you don't like them, or you don't get along with them. Perhaps you're even enemies, right? So, I don't know, we could use like political examples. India and Pakistan are not on good terms, right? The governments of those countries don't seem to like each other very much. We could say this about a lot of countries, but I don't want to get too political on the English live stream, right? But yeah, we could probably think of a few other countries or groups that are not on good terms with each other pretty easily, right? Why don't you try an example sentence for that, YouTube watcher? Can you try that out for me? Can you try your own sentence with on good terms or not on good terms? Try it out. I'll give you a few seconds. I know it's going to take you a little while to actually write it. So, let's see, is this computer going to literally melt? Maybe. This thing's getting hot, hot, hot. I need to open this computer up and clean it out in there a little bit. I think it's probably dusty. That's why it's getting so dang hot. Let's wait a little while longer, see if anybody can give us some example sentences for on good terms. I have a few examples in here already. Right. Oh, of course, if anyone's watching later on YouTube, do feel free to give your own examples or whatever, questions in the comments. Okay, love to see it. Love to help. Looks like we are not going to get an example, probably. Or at least it hasn't happened yet. We'll check back later. We've only got 5 more minutes of streaming time now, so we'll see. Okay. Looks like someone's watching here on Insta. Do either of you guys actually have any questions? All right, we've got another 5 minutes, so I can probably answer one for you. Okay. And again, if you want to see what I'm writing, drawing, or doing, you can watch on YouTube. Okay, so you'll be able to see my notes and stuff, right? So I'm actually doing stuff over here, writing and stuff. But you can't see it on Instagram because I can't live stream on my computer on Instagram. I don't know why. Some people can, but I can't. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, India and Pakistan are not on good terms. All right. All right, now there's no stopping someone. So this means like something is inevitable, like sure to happen. That's for kind of like a process or a, an event. All right. Let's see. What can we say? Use an example for this, right? There's no stopping New Year's. Time keeps on moving. All right. No stopping. There's no stopping New Year's. It's inevitable. All right. Or as a person, they're driven or kind of determined. All right, so let's take a look at that. James live streams almost every weekend. There's no stopping him. He's just very determined, driven. It's happening. It's sure to happen, right? There's no stopping it. I can't be stopped. I won't stop. Or wait, is I can't stop. You guys remember that song? I don't know. Maybe you don't. Okay. So, yeah, we got two idioms here. Yeah, no stopping someone, no stopping something, plus being on good terms. Again, if anyone wants to try an example sentence for these two, I would be really happy to see it. Okay, let's take a look at YouTube. Oh, yeah, someone has it. I am so happy that I am on good terms with my grandma finally after a big argument 2 years ago. Okay, sure. You could even say you are back on good terms, right? In that situation, it's like you were probably on good terms before, then you had a big argument. Now you weren't on good terms, you're not on good terms, and now you are again, so you're back on good terms. Sure. Yeah, we can say that. That's very good. I'm so happy that I am on good terms with my grandma. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, nice sentence, nice example. All right, let's put that in the video. Got. Why isn't that at the right size, huh? Let's make this 24. I'm so happy that I'm on good terms with my grandma, finally after a big argument 2 years ago. Sure. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, well, gosh, that's just about it for our streaming time today, everybody. So, if anyone has any questions that they'd like for me to address next time, put it in the comments. That's fine. You can do that. Yeah, I think this is a good stopping point anyway. Okay, so thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for watching. And especially thanks everyone who actually participated. Wow, you have no idea how much better streaming is when people are participating in the stream, asking questions, commenting, chatting, whatever it is. So I really, really, really appreciate that, especially everyone who comments and participates. Whew, makes this so much easier and more enjoyable. It's really, really tough to stream to an empty audience, or an unresponsive one at least. So I just really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So remember, if you need help with your English, you need www.needhelpenglish.com. Education, training, success. We will see you next time. Okay, let's shut us off on YouTube.